All right, Nick. Coming in live in the top of the ninth on what has been a good day so far. So far, so good. I think that's going to be the ticket.
Yeah. I was too far over the whole time, and I kept trying to scoot, and I was just like, I'm not doing this today.
I'm a man of the people that like baseball as well. There is a national championship going on ESPN as well. If you have two televisions,
Game 7
is the hockey playoffs going on right now?
Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals is right now.
Well, they should have started that later.
I think it's almost end of the second period.
What?
Yeah. It's 10 o'clock.
What's the score?
2-1 Panthers. They're trying to avoid
the devastation.
Yeah, which I guess is not really that crazy. I mean, it's still crazy, but it's not that
definitely
crazy.
Hockey. It's crazy.
I'm kind of surprised it hasn't happened in the NBA. Totally off topic. Because the NBA feels like at some point there would have been one team that relied on a player that got hurt because, the NBA is like your smallest rosters.
Sure.
And it feels like you would have backed your way into one of them in the NBA. It's kind of weird they're the one sport that doesn't have it.
That's fair. It hasn't because it's really hard to win 3 games in a row and then lose 4 games in a row. But, it's obviously doable. The cup hasn't been to Canada in a long, long time, right?
I believe that is correct.
Yeah. Not a big hockey guy. Tennessee with a big home run last inning. How many outs we got, Nick?
We got 2.
2 outs. Likes chat. Thank you. What a wild night. It's one of those crazy things where you get no sports a lot of the times in the summer, and then just some random night in the middle of June, we got just we can talk about baseball. Yeah, obviously. But I'm saying you think that's funny?
No, check the group chat.
Oh, well.
Jeremiah, I think I saw him in the chat. He just texted, highlight player. Jeremiah, I think we know who the highlight player tonight is.
Oh, wow. I mean, sometimes you got to feed, feed the children.
Hit it to the riverboat, man.
Oh, he's in the chat. He's in the chat.
He hit it to the riverboat, Jeremiah.
He did, dude. In the riverboat. Unbelievable.
Just put a picture of a boat.
Well, this isn't a very good game anymore. Do I turn this game off?
Hockey. Gotta go hockey.
I gotta go to the hockey game. You said the period's about to be over, though, right?
Yeah, that's true. That is true. So right. You got about probably 20 minutes.
Good. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna watch the dog pile if there is one. You never know. You never know. We got supers galore, baby. Supers galore.
Reds must be winning.
Mark Fetter's coming in. Sean Connor has a good point. Why not rest CRUZ? Well, because he hasn't thrown in a little while. It's just kind of a double-edged sword, Mark.
Yeah, I mean,
I think you want to rest him, but you can't not throw him ever and then put him into a big situation and be like, here, go out there, Fernando. I know you hadn't thrown in 2 weeks. Get these big outs for me. I think that's part of it. Not part of it. I think that's all of it. So there's that answer. Game Day 513. Super chat said, I'm super happy. A lot of supers going on. Super happy that David Bell told the Reds to hit the ball tonight. That's how that works, right? All-star manager.
Try to get us in trouble.
I don't know, man. You might be onto something there. I think it was the new guy that came into town.
Okay. Attaboy, Shang.
We don't have 3 outs yet.
No, O'Neill Cruz got another hit. If he has a great series, those kids should be banned from this ballpark for the rest of their life.
You're talking about them chanting overrated?
Unbelievable.
That was almost just as bad as the Cowboy the other day. And then Sadak added on to it.
Worse. Because
it's not worse.
They couldn't hear the Cowboy.
Well, all I know is that it took exactly a half a second later after stating that sentence for the ball to leave the ball yard. That's all I know.
Those kids better have not had their parents around them, because if my kid ever did that at a ballpark to a player of O'Neill Cruz's caliber and he hit a home run, I'd never take him back. I would never take him back.
I would say that shows you, boys. That's karma right there. Instant karma. Yeah, I don't know. Can't chant. You don't chant overrated to guys that are pretty good at baseball. You just don't do that. No point in it, really. First of all, I've always thought the overrated chant was the dumbest chant in sports, because every time the overrated chant becomes a thing is when there's a team that's ranked high, usually, or well-respected, usually, is losing to a team that nobody thought maybe they would beat them, or whatever the case may be. So really, all they're doing is diminishing what they accomplished. It's like, are they overrated, or are you just good? Maybe you should just say that you're good. That'd be the more appropriate thing. Is this 3-2? Okay. Aggies are hanging around now.
I bet them in game 1. Money line.
Well, good for you. You won.
Wow. Little boost action. Shout out Caesars. Come on, Justin.
Why are we chat's upset right now? Why is the chat upset?
They're probably upset that I don't have any of the base runners on.
They're upset because the bases are juiced.
And yeah, I hit them empty.
Well, I don't think that was the
False
case.
False security.
Bases juiced. It's the Pirates. The game's never over until it's over.
Yeah, I saw a game last year that I never want to think about again.
A&M, boys. A&M. Never say die. Who's up? Key Brian Hayes?
Nick Gonzalez. This guy's a good player. He's gonna be a pain for a while.
Nick Gonzalez.
In my humble opinion.
Some arms loose. Volunteers bullpen. I'm waiting for the chat to get mad at me because I'm watching this A&M baseball game. I'm gonna need Wilson to get this last out so I don't get in trouble.
Okay, they're gonna say that.
Sadak saying some crazy stuff.
Levi. Oh. He mentioned Gonzalez is over his last 21 or something like that. Oh, you know what? I gotta.
2 strikes. I'll tell you what now. Victory.
Did you even have the game on?
Big win. We'll talk about it.
Bench to bench. Change in the air to deep right field. That goes Clemente. It's the save. He's done. Get out of here, baseball. It's gone. Oh, my God. You believe it. Johnny Bench has tied it up.
The Cincinnati Reds win the World Series in 4 straight. It was a sweep.
In the dirt. It's a wild pitch. Here comes Falter. The Reds win the pennant.
Larkins won the game.
That ball is fair. Cincinnati's ahead. 2 games to none.
Welcome Joe Landa to Cincinnati. Adam Dunn has done it again.
Benzinger backing and calling. And the 1990 World Championship belongs to the Cincinnati Reds.
Marty, yes. This is Adam from Milwaukee. Hey, Adam, how you doing? I'm good. How are you? Good. Do you think Scott Chatterbox is a good player?
Dunn up there with the bases loaded, the outfield deep and around toward right, and the 1-0 on the way to the plate. Swung on, long drive, right field, and this one belongs to the Reds.
And a high drive. Hit back into deep right field. Junior has just knocked the door down to the 500 club.
Benson's first home run is a walk-off winner. That ball had a family.
And De La Cruz is, oh my goodness, look at this kid run. My, oh my, that is a triple.
Matt McClain's first big league bomb.
Spencer Steers' first big league hit is a home run to straightaway center field. Joey Votto's done it again.
The pitch. Votto swings high in the air. Right field. Yes! He pointed to the dugout to say, I told you. That is Joey Votto's 315th career go-ahead ribby. Only Johnny Bench had more as a Red.
And I can't tell you how much it means to play in front of everyone here in Cincinnati as a Red. What a gift. What a tremendous gift. So thank you. Thank you.
I think I can speak for all of Reds country. Joey Votto, thank you.
High drive. Left center field. Racing back to the Laurent Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? Did he? He did. He did. Reds win. Reds win. Line to right field. Junior, the first Red ever with 4 home runs in a game. Can you believe it? In the air, down the right field line. Doesn't have a chance. The Reds have won on a 3-run home run on opening day by Ramon Hernandez. A strike away and out away is Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first, and Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed a no-hitter. Oh, gosh. Oh, are you kidding me? Holy Moses, the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air, and the Reds win. What a dream beginning to the career of Jay Bruce.
I wouldn't call this the biggest win the Reds have ever had on a show like tonight, but it's one of the more well-deserving wins. It's one of the nights in which I come down here, I turn everything on, and there's really at no point nerves. There was at no point fear. Now, some of that may be due to the fact that when you watch a game on the game day app, versus actually watching the bases get loaded in real time on the TV, Nick, it's a little bit better to watch it on the game day app. I'll be honest with you. I wasn't as nervous. Your thoughts?
I was never nervous. I felt good. What a night. What a night for the Reds. What a difference. 24 hours. I don't even think it was 24 hours since we last spoke. Big win. Especially, I don't want to say it, but it's a big win.
Yeah. We all know what's going on. I do. I know exactly what you're going to say because I was thinking the same thing. It's hard to get excited when they've continued to do this and they've not figured out a way to capitalize on it. But you'd like to think, Nick, that statistically speaking, at some point, you'd like to think that they will capitalize on the thing that me and you both telepathically through this computer screen are thinking at the exact same time, and neither one of us are going to say it because we don't want to be the ones that are going to jinx it. Now, having said that, if you like baseball, I'm just going to give this one last time. I'm just going to tell you on ESPN right now, Tennessee Volunteer fans, they are nervous. I can guarantee it. Because right now A&M's putting the pedal to the metal, as they say, and they're making a game out of it. So shout out to college baseball, last game of the year. What's the phrase that they use in that movie, Waterboy? You can't hold anything back. Pretty sure that's what they say.
Sounds good.
You ever seen? Are you telling me you not seen the movie?
I've definitely seen Waterboy. I wouldn't call it. I'm more of a Happy Gilmore guy though.
I mean, that's a great movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to argue that. I mean, that's like.
I mean, it probably comes as no shock to people who watch me every day. I was a massive fan of what was that, mid 2000s Adam Sandler films, early 2000s. Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Big Daddy.
He had a run in the sun. He had a run in the sun. I'm simultaneously trying to do a show and watch some great baseball right now. I'm going to be honest. I mean, listen, I'm upfront and honest. I'm transparent with all of you. I do like baseball, and I definitely love college baseball. And I'll be honest with you. We got a baseball game right now. This is winner take all. They've been working since August of last year, going to fall, working out, doing all those crazy things, all for these last 3 innings. And by 3, I think I mean 2. So
do you need me to change the bar to the Tennessee logo?
I'll let you know. No. Yeah, you could. You possibly. Yeah, we could do that. Let's get into it though. There was some positive things to take away from the day. Yes, it's nice to see. There was a lot of things, yes. But I'm saying there were some things that maybe flew under the radar. You got Spiers on here?
Yeah, he's on the back half.
Okay. Because I got something to say about him. And I thought he did something tonight that was pleasing. Very, very pleasing is what we'll call it. Before we get into all of it, though, we're obviously going to do the traditional rundown. I'm going to see if I have any supers here before we get to the Boschko recap, per usual. RD711 says, Levi Jordan is my all-time favorite Red. My favorite thing about call-ups is the Jim Day interview, man. That I actually do like that. It's kind of nice to see like the parents and the whole family kind of get to realize a dream, and you almost think like as little as I don't want to say as little as I think of Jim Day, but not I like Jim Day, but as little as I think about that little interview, they're probably in the moment thinking like they're on basically like national television or something.
Yeah, a little inside baseball here. I had told the kids, hey, we're gonna go to bed after this half inning. I try to strategically do it so I can maximize my ability to watch the game to be able to try to come on the show. And I saw the parents said, nope, one more half inning, kids. We're going to listen to this interview because I agree. It's great stuff. It reminds you, especially for people like me and you that do this every single day. And it can kind of get you can get a little almost, I don't want to say jaded. I don't know, whatever the term that's a little less than that, but you can kind of, go through the motion. Interviews like that remind you why you love baseball, why you love doing a show like this. And that was really cool tonight.
Yeah, it was. His mother was not a woman of many words. She I think she shared about 6 to Jim Day. And shout out to the dad, though. He held it down. But nonetheless, yeah, shout out to Levi Jordan. He's on the rundown, baby. We'll talk about him in just a minute. And before we get to all the topics of conversation, we were going to do the box score recap presented by Nick Kirby.
All right, Reds taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. First of 3 at Great America Ballpark. When the Reds and Pirates met last week, there was a total of 9 runs scored from both teams combined in the 3 games. Carson Spiers started for the Reds. He retired the first 6 batters that he faced, but the Pirates got on the board. They got 3 singles off him in the 3rd inning. Lefty Bailey Falter, he retired the first Reds 9 batters that he faced and took a 1-0 lead into the 4th. But then the Reds would put up a 5 spot in the bottom of the 4th, headlined by RBI doubles by Spencer Steer and Stuart Fairchild. The Pirates, they continued to hit a bunch of singles off Spiers in the top of the 5th. They hit 3 straight singles to start the inning, and they cut the Reds' lead to 5-3. But the Reds got those runs right back in the bottom of the 5th. Back-to-back doubles by Jonathan India and ELLY de la Cruz to start the inning, and an RBI single by Spencer Steer made it 7-3 Reds. And then Carson Spiers put up a 0 in the top of the 6th to finish off a strong start number 2 for Spiers this season. 6 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. In the bottom of the 6th, Levi Jordan, who was just called up earlier today when unfortunately TJ Friedl was placed on the IL, he doubled for his first big league hit. Jordan prior today was a 28-year-old career minor leaguer who was a 29th round draft pick out of college. Jordan had reportedly considered retiring this year when he was offered a job as a college coach, but Jordan can no longer say he's a career minor leaguer because he is a big leaguer with a double today. Jordan scored the Reds' 8th run on an RBI single by Luke Maile. India then doubled his 3rd hit of the night, and then ELLY de la Cruz did the unthinkable. He obliterated a baseball into the riverboat. His 3rd hit of the night, 11-3 Reds. There were some unfortunate kids chanting overrated at O'Neill Cruz in the 7th inning, and boy, did O'Neill Cruz make them look silly. O'Neill crushed a 458-foot home run off Fernando Cruz to make it an 11-5 game, but that would be the closest the Pirates would get. Lucas Sims threw a scoreless 8th. Justin Wilson did load the bases in the 9th, but he threw a scoreless inning. Reds win 11-5. Reds now 37-41 on the season.
And we do have a deep drive of the day, and it's a legit one. I don't know if we've ever done one, maybe farther. We have to check the tapes. We have to check the tapes, but this one might have felt like the farthest, for whatever that's worth. ELLY de la Cruz off the riverboat, 14th of the year, 111 off the bat, 439 feet, 33 degrees for all the scientists and rocket scientists and all the NASA lovers and SpaceX lovers out there. I could give a damn. But that would make the win probability of your Cincinnati Reds go up a whopping 0.8%. 0.8%, and the probability at that time was 99.7%. So not the biggest home run in terms of clutch-wise, but as we all know, it would be 100%. And the DSC Deep Drive of the Day is a sponsor of this segment, and they are a leader in renewable commodities for biofuel production, specializing in used cooking oil collection, aggregation, and sales. Visit www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information. Thank you to John for sponsoring ELLY de la Cruz on a night like tonight. So shout out to John and DSC. ELLY de la Goat. This is where you get yourself in trouble. On nights like
get out of here. Get out of here. Oh, get out of here. One of these days, when I really get ticked off, I'm reading this chat and they're just giving it to me. I'm going to pull up and I'm just going to spend 30 minutes reading the chat on the night that ELLY de la Cruz had 3 errors in Philadelphia. Oh, boy, it's coming. It's coming.
You know, Nick, here's the thing. They have therapists for things like this. I just want you to know, you don't have to be so you don't have to be so upset about that 988. Yeah, I know that exists as well. I don't think 988 exists for what you have issues with right now. You're just mad at people because they were upset at ELLY de la Cruz at a point in time that, honestly, maybe they could have been upset about it. But that's here nor there. I said it yesterday, I think, on this show, this very show. The guy is a superstar, like it or not. And whether or not he ultimately ever becomes a really great, well-rounded player and he's, a perennial all-star, I'd like to think that's down the road. But he's without question a player that this team has to find a way to extend. And I don't know what they got to do, but they got to figure it out. That's on them, not me. Tonight, you got to see everything. And again, one thing that he does do on a consistent basis that I've you watch every game, you start to realize these things. He makes a lot of plays look easier than they really are, and I think he gets punished for that. He made a play over the middle tonight that just ho-hum. He made a backhand play in a really big spot. I think it was first and third, and he just made it look relatively easy, and nobody's going to think that that's a really big play, but in that spot, it was a big play. The only issue I have with Elly, and it's not really his fault, is that he makes Candelario look like a doofus at first base more times than not. You ever seen him try to stretch on a ball, Candelario? He's like falling over himself. I'm like, I don't know if he's just scared that the ball's coming in too fast or what, but I'm serious. Candelario does not look too pretty over there when ELLY De La Cruz is throwing him the baseball.
He didn't look very good when Santiago Espinal was throwing him a baseball either today. Yeah. But yeah, no, that play you were talking about, I remember that because Sadek even didn't really react to it. He just like, oh, that's the end of the inning, and kind of moved on. I was kind of like, was that play not as difficult as I kind of thought it was? But yeah, look, ELLY De La Cruz now leads the Reds in OPS, and that's including how hot Jeimer Candelario was. He's the Reds' best hitter. He's the Reds' best fielder. He's the Reds' best base runner. It's pretty awesome what he's doing. And I don't know, we sat in the Riverboat last year, and I never sat there before. We did our Chatterbox Reds night last year. And that is a long way up there. I remember going up there and thinking, man, how do balls get hit up here? That is a incredibly difficult thing to do, to hit a ball that far. And it wasn't like, I think the distance was right. It was just to be able to hit the ball that hard and that high, is the two of those combined is not many players can do that.
No, he's a special breed. I don't think anybody's ever disagreed or admitted to the idea that he's unbelievably gifted in every way imaginable, quite frankly. He can do every single thing you want a player to be able to do on the baseball field. The only thing at times, obviously, that fans have grown frustrated with ELLY at times is just some kind of give him some grief on the base pass. I kind of give him a hand. I give a pass on that more times than not, because of today, he takes second base and nobody says a word about it because he was safe. But if he gets thrown out, people are mad. So I kind of I'm hesitant when it comes to his base running. I will openly admit there are times where I do feel like he's pressing at the plate, or he just doesn't look comfortable at the plate. There are long stretches of times it kind of felt like that for him. But again, this adage gets used way too often. He is young, right? And I know that's used maybe more times than people want to hear. But if he can just become a little more of a skillful player at the plate, there's nothing that's going to stop him. Literally nothing that can stop him. And we'll see if he can consistently be this great player. And you know what? Even if he's not, Nick, I will openly admit to you, that's okay too. Like, if he's this great for short periods of time, then you just got to live with that. But maybe he's not going to be that great, consistent player at the plate, I should say, all year long. He's just going to play great for a month, have 2-week cold stretch, play great for another month, have a 2 or 3 week cold stretch. And if that's the way it goes, then I guess I'll say I'm fine with that too. I'm just glad this guy's on our team. Period.
Yeah, he's up to a 123 WRC plus now. In a year where no one's been consistent really on the Reds. ELLY almost has probably been the most consistent player all year. And again, I'm with you. He hasn't been, it's certainly been up and down. But yeah, he's got his strikeout rates down to 31%. So that's improving a little bit. That's over 2% better than last year. That's a pretty big leap. I know. Look at Shohei Ohtani, and when he broke into the league, how it was a slow decline in his strikeout rate. It wasn't something that it fixed overnight. He had a really high strikeout rate when he broke into the league. It slowly got better and better. And you hope that ELLY can continue to do that as well. Because if ELLY gets his strikeout rate down in the mid-20s,
Right.
I mean, you're talking one of if not the best player on the planet.
Correct. One quick thing I seen in the chat, Steve brought up the idea that, it's hard to extend Elly because of Scott Boras being his agent. I guess that's always been the excuse, but my thing is like Scott Boras just got took to the ringer this past offseason. I would like to think that maybe there would be at least a consideration if you're going to go into it with giving him the amount of money that quite honestly would make him one of the highest paid players in the league. It's hard to turn. I don't care who you are. It's hard to turn guaranteed money away when you have this many more years left of being underneath team control. I would understand if he was like 2, maybe 3 years away from unrestricted free agency, but he's not. He's not. He's got 4 full seasons plus this season. So I'm not saying that it's going to be easy. But I'm going to also openly admit that it's a huge risk on the Reds' end to a certain extent to give him an absurd amount of money because of injuries. But the reality is at some point you got to take a risk regardless, whether you're the Reds. And I'm just saying openly that it seems as if they can find a way if there is a will. That's all. And I'm not openly saying that it's super easy, but I'm saying that if they want to make it happen, I, in my heart of hearts, believe that they can. The question is do they want to take the risk? I don't know.
I mean, yeah, Fernando Tatis signed a contract. I can't imagine that Elly De La Cruz doesn't want to get that Fernando Cruz type guaranteed, or Fernando Tatis, guaranteed type money. Again, I'll start listening to those comments and putting some weight in that. And I'm not trying to single out Steve here. I'll start listening and putting weight into those comments when I hear that the Reds moved heaven and hell and it didn't happen. Like, until I hear the concrete stories that they've been doing everything they can, they've been working nonstop, day and night behind the scenes to try to extend Elly De La Cruz, then I'll start listening to the argument, well, he's not going to sign. Until I hear that they've done everything, they've turned every single stone over, I don't want to hear those kind of comments.
I agree. And one thing, two things I want to add here really quickly. One with Elly is that he took the insurance deal with the organization, which is a perfectly fine thing. They're going to get 10% of his career earnings because he took obviously what's the right word to use here? He took like money up front to protect himself to where he didn't really have to live like a super paycheck to paycheck kind of life in the minor leagues. And I don't blame him for that. But what that does tell me, at least a little bit, into the mind of Elly, is that he might be more of a conservative type, mindset when it comes to having the opportunity to earn money. I do understand there's a little bit of a difference, Nick, between being, a kid in the minor leagues that, quite honestly, just all he's got is a signing bonus, which wasn't a significant amount in the first place. But I just, maybe I'm biased, maybe I'm naive, maybe I got blinders on, but I really do think that they could get a deal done with Elly while, even while the iron's hot. Like, he's new to the city. He probably loves this city. It's probably, to a certain extent, one of the holds a special place in his heart type things. Maybe we're just stupid Reds fans and we're naive to that, and he'll end up signing with a big dog, and, we'll all think that we had a chance and we never did. I don't believe that. So until then, I won't. The last thing I'll say is David Brown did say, well, 6'5" shortstops don't play, all that often at shortstop for very long. Yes, but like, how many guys look like Elly De La Cruz? Like, there's not many. Like, Cal Ripken did it. So if Cal Ripken can do it, then I know Cal Ripken eventually moved to third base, but I just, is there any downside to going after it is my thought. And the only downside you can even convince me of is something that nobody can literally predict. So then at that point, it's just an argument based off of whether you want to take a risk or whether you don't want to take a risk. And I will also openly admit, Nick, that this Reds fan base sometimes overreacts on contracts based off the fact that we thought Hunter Green's contract this past February was or at least towards the end of last year, I remember fans being like, this isn't a good deal for the Reds. Have you looked at the contract? And have you looked at his production? And what do you think that would have been in arbitration on top of the fact they'd had to pay him for another year after he was already free? So far, so good with Hunter Green, too.
Yeah, even I mean, even if in 5 years, 6 years, Elly has to move to third base, you don't think he's going to be a great third baseman? I mean, with that arm, that arm's not going to fall off. I mean,
no, you could argue
Scott
speed.
Rowland still had a great arm until he was 50 years old at third base. Like, he would be fine. Yeah, but again,
Do you think his game changes a bunch if his speed goes away completely? Will his speed ever really go away completely? I don't know. To be fair, I don't think he's going to be stealing as many bags when he's 32 years old than he is when he's 22 for obvious reasons. But having said that,
32 years old is still 10 years away. That's 10 years away. Like, this is a 22-year-old player. Like, I think we think of we even don't realize how young Elly De La Cruz is, and how if you when he reaches free agency, he's reaching free agency significantly younger than the bulk of players that we come through. Like when Spencer Steer reaches free agency, he's like 30 years old. Elly De La Cruz is going to be 27. I mean,
you sign him for a 10-year deal, right? 10 to 12-year deal.
I mean, it might be like 15. I mean, it might be like 15.
That depends on how the Reds want to look at it. If the Reds want to go like, hey, let's just make it like a car payment type thing and make it to where we can just extend it as long as we possibly can, and we really don't want to have to pay for it, then yeah, make it like a 15-year or 16 or 17-year deal, and just know that the last 5 years of that deal are you just basically paying for something that you bought previously, and it's your deferred interest payment. But I can't wait for that. I'll probably be dead and gone if we do a show every single night in 15 years. But having said that, I can't wait for people to be like, man, we need to get Elly De La Cruz off the books. You believe we're still paying him? Like, yeah. I don't know. I'm going on a rant. Levi Jordan. We just talked about him a little bit before the show started. Good kudos to him. I didn't get a chance to see the double, though. Two things could have happened. Either I was walking downstairs to get the set up, or it happened late in the game, and I was unfortunately watching a national championship game.
Yeah, he got robbed of 2 hits also.
I seen the first one he got robbed on.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, he had a hard hit double, and then he had 2 other balls that the Pirates made. O'Neal Cruz and I think Nick Gonzalez was the other one, made really good plays on. But, yeah, I mean, shout out to him. He's had a great year at Louisville. People who watch the show know I've never even mentioned this guy.
Nope.
That's kind of where we're at, but he's had a good year. I don't know, maybe he could fill a platoon role. I mean, that's I'm sure what the Reds are thinking right now. But he also might be sent down when Novi Marte gets activated on Thursday. So I don't know, but good for him. Just a really cool night for, him and his family. And again, like I said earlier, just remind you why you love baseball.
I agree. Will he get sent down? I don't know. But I will also call it for what it is. Like he's been a career minor leaguer. Yes. He's actually had some decent seasons in the minors when I looked him up earlier. And this year obviously has been his best year. But having kind of said all that, we need him just to kind of get hot and I don't want to say get lucky, but in a way, if he's going to stick on this team for the rest of the year, he's just going to have to play out of his mind. He's going to have to play out of his absolute mind because let's face it, like who else are you going to get rid of to keep him on the roster when Nuelve returns? I know TJ's obviously out for an extended period of time. We'll get into that, I'm sure. Espinal's going to stay. Martini's going to – I don't know. I mean, Martini's a left-handed bat, though. Am I missing somebody?
Levi Soto's on the Levon Soto.
Levon Soto.
Right? We haven't saw him yet.
Yes.
He probably would have been in the lineup tonight, maybe, if the Reds are facing a right-handed pitcher. I'm not sure what their plans are with him. The one thing Jordan's got going for him is he can play every single position. So, he makes it easier for you to pinch hit in certain situations. I have no idea whatsoever how good he is defensively at any of those positions. He's not a guy I've tracked by any means, but he does have that going for him. He can literally play every position, and he's a right-handed bat, and there is not a surplus of those right now that aren't striking out 50% of the time down at Louisville.
No. We have unbelievable sports going on tonight, so it is what it is. You're going to have to bear with me from time to time being kind of like incoherent in certain situations. We'll move on to the next topic, Jonathan India. But for those that are really love baseball, if this stays in the podcast, I'm sorry, but it's already happened and it's over with. But if you're on the YouTube live right now, you need to get the ESPN. We got a 2-run game, runners on base with 2 outs in the top of the 9th inning. All right, Jonathan India, back in the leadoff spot. Old leadoff India. He continues to look good at the plate, Nick. This has been kind of a running theme now, and I don't know what we make of it. I don't know if we're gonna kind of find out that we can at least say one thing about Jonathan India. He is a major league hitter. Like, that is a fact. That's a fact. I don't think that's debatable. And I think from there, the question becomes, where do you fit him into a team that might ultimately have more and more players come back later this season? I don't know. And I don't have that answer right now. And to be quite frank, I don't know if the Reds do. I don't think the Reds do have an answer for him from a position standpoint if they have everybody here healthy. But the reality is, at this point, like you've always said, Nick, I don't know. Maybe they'll never have it. I mean, maybe no one's ever going to be healthy all at one time. If they do, great, and we'll figure it out at a later date. But for now, Jonathan India is at least swinging the bat well and playing a serviceable second base.
Yeah, Jonathan India is up to 10th in the National League in on-base percentage. So, yeah, I mean, I guess right now, it makes sense to put him in the leadoff spot with TJ Friedl out. He's had some success in that spot. Again, if Jonathan India had Santiago Espinal's defensive ability, you'd have me jumping on the show trying to hype up Jonathan India when he's struggling every single night. He's made some strides defensively, but I'm not going to go overboard on being too excited about what he's done defensively because there's still 3 years of data on him. Now, can he change that? Yeah, absolutely. There's been tons of players that started out very, very poor defensively and were able to flip a switch there. I'll have to kind of see it a little bit more. But what he's doing offensively right now is just really incredible. This guy looked absolutely lost at the plate. Looked like, he was I don't even know what to say. It doesn't feel like he was the same player that we watched the first 2 months of the year.
You could say that about a couple Reds on this team. Candelario's without question in that same boat. I'm sure that there's someone else that I'm missing that kind of got off to a slow start, but at the end of it all, we'll see what happens to Jonathan India. I'm glad that he's playing well, and it does nothing but help the Reds. And no matter what situation happens, that he does play well. So, shout out to Jonathan India. I'm glad he's on the rundown. Also, congratulations to Tennessee for winning the national championship. So there's that.
Shout out Vols.
Yep. All right. For those that are wondering, if you're looking to go to a game, like if you're looking to maybe go to a Game 7 NHL hockey game, or maybe you're looking to go to a College World Series game, shout out Peyton Manning. Also, my son said that Jack Nicklaus was sitting next to Peyton Manning tonight. Don't see him there. They just showed Peyton. No clue in the world where Jack Nicklaus would be in that group of people. Maybe he thought Scott Barnes was him. That would be a tough situation for Scott Barnes if it was. But nonetheless, you got to get tickets somewhere, Nick. And if you're going to get tickets, there's only one place to go. And that place is where?
Well, it's the Game Time app, obviously, Trace, because the Game Time app is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball. That makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app, they actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in pricing, views from your seat, and the lowest price guaranteed, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. They have all-in pricing. You can toggle this feature, and it shows you the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. Lowest price guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code CINCY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code CINCY, CINCY, for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Guaranteed. 988, text, call if you need it. Mantherapy.org, as always. I tell you one thing that I've always worried about, and trust me, I can't hope more to ever be in this situation. But could you imagine being a diehard Panthers fan or a Edmonton Oilers fan right now? Oh my God. Chat, I'm sorry. Chat, listen, I'm going to just be honest with everybody. I know there's 260 people in here. They want to talk Reds baseball right now, and we're going to talk Reds baseball, all right? But this is sports at the highest imaginable level. Is anyone watching this game right now? Nick, do you have this game on?
Yeah, I have it on.
I with all due respect, do you think Elly De La Cruz could have scored this goal right here? This puck. It's sitting right there in front of the net. I think he could have done it. I'm going to get back to talking Reds baseball because that's what people care about, and I can't help that my ADHD brain, ADHD. I think it's ADD is what I was looking for. Long story short, I can't not stay focused here. Spiers, I did want to say something nice about him. He had a chance to kind of unravel, if you will. The Reds jump out. They get a bunch of runs. They have a great inning. I think at the time it was a 5-1 or 6-1 lead. And then it kind of got to a spot where he let a couple base runners get on. Nobody out, a couple runners. And I thought he bared down, man. He made some good pitches. And I will say, Spiers, I still like Ashcraft. I have not given up on him. I still think he's a really good arm. I also think Spiers is a good arm. And again, I know it's a super, super short sample size. Ashcraft, much longer. But when you watch him pitch, it looks very, very simple. The repeatability of his motion looks incredibly realistic. It is not very herky-jerky. It looks like it's effortless, and it feels like there's going to be some consistency that's going to come from Spiers, and he's shown that obviously in the minors, which has given him the big league opportunity that he's gotten. The only thing I would say about the whole situation is if he continues to throw the ball really, really well. Not that it was side tangent here off of Spiers, but it's like I do wonder what they end up doing with Ashcraft because you kind of find yourself in a spot, and I know injuries, blah, blah, blah. But my main point is like I would be curious to see what they do because you can only go, in my opinion, like a month before you have to make some kind of decision with Ashcraft if he throws the ball well in AAA as well.
So. Yeah. I mean, the most impressive thing with Carson Spiers, you might remember last year he came up and he only threw 13 innings, but he walked 7 batters in those 13 innings. Well, he's now thrown 31 1/3 innings, and he's only walked 6. So that's quite impressive for him that he's come up, he's thrown strikes. This guy definitely is a big league pitcher. I don't know if he's a big league starter, or if I don't know if he's a big league reliever, but he's a big league arm. And yeah, it's just been, and this is a team that just saw him a couple days ago. It's tough facing a team back-to-back games. Bailey Falter can tell you how hard it is to face a team back-to-back games. I think the Reds had a lot of hard hit balls against him last week. I can't remember off the top of my head. But nonetheless, yeah, I mean, just a good effort by Carson Spiers. And this is what good teams have, is they have these problems. They have too many pitchers. It's what we thought we were going to have with the offense, and it completely has gone the opposite direction. But at least with the pitching, you kind of have some of these problems. And again, I've said it before, the pendulum swings. So don't get too cocky about having too many pitchers, because you can be humbled very quickly. But this is what good teams have. This is what the Milwaukee Brewers have. They have starters, they have relievers, they have guys that are, do every kind of different role. They can just call up whoever they want, whenever they want. They have good pitchers at AAA. And that's what hopefully the Reds can start doing more of and building more off of.
Yeah, we hope. So shout out to Spiers. He did a phenomenal job tonight. And like I said, most impressively of all the things was, he didn't fold when the pressure intensified. And I felt like that kind of has been 2 times now where he's kind of been able to kind of circumvent a possible real issue. Because his first start, he obviously got off to an incredibly poor start as well. And he kind of rallied the troops a little bit, and he got himself to where he had an okay outing the very first time that he got a chance with the Reds. All right, jumping into something that's not so fun to talk about, and at this point, I just give up. I'll be honest with you. TJ Friedl, he's out again. I'm not going to say it's TJ's fault. I'm not going to be mad at TJ. I'm not going to bring up like Nick Senzel-esque type stuff, but it's like it just feels like we're at a point now with TJ that I'm going to say this like without being too pessimistic. I just don't think I'm ever going to 100% count on him again when it comes to like being there over a long period of time. Am I wishing upon that? No. But I'm not going to enter a season ever again and be like, we got TJ Friedl. He's going to be there. 162. It seems unrealistic, to be quite frank, from now on.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I mean, you almost have to view TJ Friedl in 2025 like the Reds viewed Nick Lodolo coming into this year. He wasn't a guy you were banking on. You were hoping because you know that your ceiling goes up if he is available. But unfortunately, just hasn't been. And it sucks for Friedl. He's 28 years old. It's not like he has a lot of baseball life left, as callous as that might sound. And this guy worked his tail off to get here. Yeah, I mean, it's really heartbreaking for him because you can only have so many of these injuries before it, completely derails your career. Correct. And I hope that's not the case. I hope he's able to overcome this. I hope he comes back in, I don't know, August or whenever it might be and goes on a tear because the Reds are a different team with TJ Friedl. Could the Reds still win without him? If Noelvi Marte comes back up and plays, well, yeah, I mean, I think so, but the Reds ceiling is definitely lower, and a decent amount lower without TJ Friedl.
A lot has been made of injuries. Some people are on the bandwagon of believing they don't matter, and you look at across Major League Baseball, and look at how many injuries every other team has, and the Reds aren't any different than them. But I look at baseball as there being key positions in the sport that really, if you have someone in that role that does above average job at playing that position, you're ahead of the game. It's no different, and quarterback maybe in a little bit of an exaggeration in the NFL. It's no different than having an NFL team that has an elite quarterback. They elevate the team significantly. There's nobody else that can do that position that would allow their team to get that much significantly better by just one spot. I think center field, shortstop, second base, and catcher, the middle of the diamond is that for baseball. I'm not saying that one's lesser than the other, but there's no doubt, in my humble opinion, that losing TJ Friedl and Matt McLain this year has been more than people want to admit. Even that's not even me trying to be like the overly optimistic person of saying, "Oh, look, it's it's none of the Reds' fault that all of these bad things are happening." Of course, they're a professional team. Of course, I'd like to think that they can persevere, and Nick Krall and David Bell, they could find a way to still win without those two players. But Nick, those are arguably, coming into this season, their two best players. I could make a case that TJ Friedl and Matt McLain were the most important players on their team last year. Now, I know ELLY De La Cruz has the potential to be the best players, but from a consistent standpoint, those two guys were nails day in and day out, and they have been relatively non-existent all year long for this team, and that does matter. And the tweet that I made the other day that somehow kind of caught fire, and people take the tweet, I think, out of context. Some people thought it was in the way that they wanted to view it, and some people thought it was the way that I was trying to view it. It's like, if I came into this season, Nick, and I said we weren't going to have TJ Friedl and we weren't going to have Matt McLain going into spring training, I told everybody that, and I said, oh, by the way, Noelvi Marte is not going to be here either. We would have all collectively been damn, all right, this kind of sucks. Not nowhere near as fun of a start to this season as we'd planned on. That's what I meant by the tweet. Now, some people think I meant this team sucks. That's not what I was meaning. I just meant that it's a different team than what we came to expect. And like I said the other day, I don't think they're very good, but I do think if they can survive and advance long enough, this playoff system's watered down enough, Nick, I'll openly admit there's a puncher's chance. There's a puncher's chance. But without TJ Friedl at this point, it does. It just diminishes the wind in the sails seems to be able to be taken out far too often of this fan base, and it's kind of happening again here with TJ.
Reds wins above replacement leaders in 2024. This includes pitchers. TJ Friedel, 4. Matt McClain, 3.2. Then Andrew Abbott, 2.2. I mean,
right.
They were the Reds' 2 best players last year, and it wasn't even close. Now, would both of those guys been able to replicate their years from last year? Probably not. I feel like they had incredible years. Both of them replicating, probably a stretch. Could they both maintain? Maybe. Would they both have been somewhere even in that realm? I believe so. So I think you're just, I get like the overall frustration of decades that has mounted, but it doesn't change the fact that these were 2 damn good baseball players that were the Reds' 2 best players last year. And certainly now ELLY De La Cruz is the Reds' best player. And I think Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo have also taken a massive step that makes them up there as well. But I still think Matt McClain and TJ Friedel are of the top 5.
Yeah, I'd be willing at the end of this year. We'll stack up the wins above replacement crowd for the Cincinnati Reds, and we'll see if you took those guys' WAR and you cut them in half. You cut them in half, right? Which would be right around 2. We'll see where they stack up at the end of this year if they were half as good of a player as they were last year. Simple as that.
Now, Trace, I feel like this is probably worth the conversation. I don't really have a great answer. I wish I did. What do you do in center field? Will Benson's obviously struggled. We don't even know if he's fully healthy either. No. We don't know if Jake Fraley's fully healthy.
It's a tough spot.
I'm a big Stuart Fairchild fan, but I'm not a Stuart Fairchild fan against hitting right-handed pitching.
Yep.
But Stuart Fairchild's defense in center field has been very, very good this year.
Yeah.
Do you keep running him out there most nights?
Fairchild's a center fielder.
At least the yeah, he's the only guy that I feel like is a true center fielder right now on this roster.
He's a center fielder. I mean, whether or not people want to say that he is or isn't, like it's not even up for debate for me. If this is the team that we currently have and there's no changes, I'll openly admit that the Reds could go out and get somebody, maybe, possibly, but I don't see that happening. Stuart Fairchild is the center fielder. I'm not suggesting that's the best answer. I don't want to see him face right-handed pitching either, quite honestly. But what else are you going to do? I'd rather have, personally, I'd rather have at least something I can bank on than to put somebody out there that we think might hit an extra 30 points better than Stuart Fairchild over the long haul, and then also give up 8 or 9 or 10 extra runs that Stuart wouldn't have given up in center field. At the end of the day, this team has not got many options, and I don't mean to be like too pessimistic here, but it is what it is, man. And what are there are no other options. Unless you're going to Blake Dunn, you're going to convince me that you're going to go down into the
He's on the IL.
But I'm saying you give Reese Hines a chance. Like where
he can't play right field.
Yeah, but my point is there's I'm just naming names that people that are going to say on X. Name all the names that people say on X that should be the center fielder. Who are they?
I gotta pull. I don't even remember. I don't the Bats roster. I mean, Hurtubise. But I don't necessarily think he's a great defensive center fielder.
Okay, let's. This is what Reds fandom does from time to time, and maybe all fandom for that matter. I love Jacob Hurtubise as much as the next guy. I love American hero. I love the fact that he went to West Point. I love all of that. God bless America. But let's also not sit here and act as if Jacob Hurtubise has shown a lot in his major league career to make you think that he's going to be able to hit and get on base. Stuart Fairchild, you can say whatever you want about him. He's at least showcased that he's a semi-competent big league hitter, and he's also a pretty damn good outfielder. You can say whatever you want about him. I know I was the first guy to criticize him the other night in left field. All right, I was. But I also wasn't the guy that got on X and was like, you need to cut this guy and get him out of the league. No, that's crazy talk. Just because you make one bad play doesn't define your whole entire season. But there is no other option. Like, there legitimately isn't another option, okay? There's not.
I'll I'll read the center fielders that are at Louisville just to, give you. So Blake Dunn is on the IL. He would be the most logical actual option. Hurnaby's has played some center field. Peyton Burdick striking out 43% of the time at Louisville. Then you have to go down Connor Capel. I did kind of forget about him.
Yeah, well, they just DFA'd him.
No, he came back though.
I know they did. I know he did. But do we think I'm just saying, do you think the Cincinnati Reds organization,
I'm not saying
you, I'm telling X, I'm telling everybody, do you think in your right mind that they're going to DFA a guy and then 5 days later he's going to be the starting center fielder for the rest of the remaining time that TJ Friedel's not here? The answer is no. That's the answer.
I'm with you. I'm giving you the options. I think one thing that you could kind of do to maybe get some sort of value back here would be if you bat like Nick Martini 7th and you bat Will Benson 9th and you stick Fairchild in the middle of them. At least it's going to make it tougher on the late in the game with relievers. So at least you might get Fairchild some at bats against a lefty late in the game.
Fair, but
for whatever that's worth.
Yeah, what's the phrase? We're trying to make a mountain out of a molehill, I think is the term that they used. You like to say rearranging deck chairs, I think.
Yeah.
All right, listen, here's what we're going to do. We have Reds MILB, which we can do that. I know this is a relatively long show right now. We appreciate everybody watching. Guys, we have a minute and 35 left. In a Stanley Cup Game 7. I have absolutely no dog in this fight. I'm just watching it as a sports fan. It looks and appears to be there are a lot of nervous people in the crowd. Could you imagine the Reds being in the World Series and in the 9th inning and it's a 1-run game and Alexis Diaz is closing it out for you? Could you imagine how just sick you'd feel? Absolutely sick. I couldn't even imagine it. I don't know. Like, people think I'm joking when I say this. I don't know if I could muster up the courage to watch every pitch.
I got physically sick in 2013 for that wild card game. Partially because it kind of felt like it was maybe the Reds' run was you could kind of feel like this was maybe towards the end of it. And they had, obviously had the year before. I was physically ill.
Yeah.
I'm not looking good. I've got the Oilers and I needed a McDavid point.
McDavid point. I don't know. I'm fairly confident McDavid was the one that had a chance to score earlier and did not.
Yeah.
But here we go. You got to pull the goalie, yeah? I mean, I don't know anything about hockey, but look at that. Look at that.
It says empty net. It says empty net, yeah.
Here we go.
50 seconds
what a pass!
We're not even probably close.
No, I'm in a minute. You're going to see the goal before me.
I'm at 40 seconds.
Oh yeah, you're gonna see the empty netter before me. There's got to be an empty net goal here.
Oh, it was close.
It's gonna be an empty netter.
Oh, here comes the Oilers. Oh, icing. All right. No, not icing. I don't even know what icing is.
Oh man, you're way ahead of me. All right. Okay, chat. We got 20 seconds left. You had to have seen the end of this already. This game's over. Damn, Edmonton. I bet it meant more to Edmonton than the random people in Florida.
Do they even know they have a hockey team?
Yeah, it's tough. This is over.
Yeah. Have you got to the end yet?
Yeah,
watch what happens. You see, they just
stuffed it in there.
Yeah. That's tough.
Unbelievable. Well, that's sports, man. That's sports. Cup stays in America, as some are saying in the chat. Thanks for hanging around for that. I bet that was riveting content. Shout out to the
USA.
The Florida Panthers. They win 2-1, and McDavid looks like he's very, very distressed. So shout out to him. If you are distressed, as always, 988 text or call if you need it. Mantherapy.org to McDavid and the rest of Edmonton and the Canada folks that like hockey, which seems to be almost all of them. All right, Reds MILB. Nick, let me know what Connor Capel did tonight.
Well, Connor Capel was not in action because it is a Monday.
That's right.
But we'll start off over in the ACL, where we're in the middle of the sixth, and the ACL Reds lead the ACL Brewers 5-3. Our hero Sheng-In Lin is 1 for 4, does have an RBI. And then over in the Dominican Summer League earlier today, the DSL Rojas, they beat the DSL CLE Mendoza 4-3. Adolfo Sanchez, for about 6 innings, was our deep drive of the day, which I thought Trace would have loved.
Mm-hmm.
Adolfo Sanchez hit his second home run of the year, 2 for 5, drove in a run. He's hitting 292, 415 on base percentage, 936 OPS through 15 games. That's really encouraging. Reds need to hit. I know we talk about how the Reds need to hit on the draft. They need to hit on their international signings too, and this was their top dog this year. And then also good days all around. Nabio Mariano, he was on base 3 times with a double. And then Jervin Moriallo, he was also on base 3 times as well. And then the DSL Reds, they completed a sweep today for the Reds Dominican teams, 8-4 over the DSL Athletics.
All right, and we have the who, what, when, where, and why right before we get to supers. And boy, do we have some supers from our man Meat. I mean, they're all over the board. Nick, tell us a little bit of who, what, when, where. You can leave the why out though.
Yeah, Reds taking on the Pirates again tomorrow. This is a rematch, Trace, of last week. The Pirates did not announce the starter until later today, so I don't have a whole lot of notes on this. What was that was a 1-0 game, right?
Yes. I want to say that was the game that they lost.
That was
1-0. So we'll see if we can do better.
So yeah, I mean, these are 2 really good pitchers. I mean, I think both these guys, Trace, could be in the All-Star game this year. So this is a good pitching matchup. But you got Hunter Green on the mound, coming off a big win. Man, it'd be great to win a series and not have to sweat it out on Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about it. It'd be nice. It'd be really nice. But we've asked for that before and we didn't get it. For those that are wondering, 0 runs, 8 strikeouts, 2 hits. So, Candelario did not play though. Candelario did not play. So, neither did Stevenson. So maybe that'll be the difference. And neither did Levi Jordan. So
Martini was out too. I mean, Mitch Keller's a right-handed pitcher, so Martini you would have thought would.
Hurtubise did play though.
They had a lot of right-handed batters in that lineup, which is not what you want to do. Not what you want against Mitch Keller. But hey, look, I think the Pirates are going with a bullpen game on Wednesday. So man, you get a win tomorrow. You got to give yourself a chance here to have a really good week.
You're nice. It'd be nice. All right, folks. What a great night of sports. What a great night of sports. Some days like today, I remember when the days of COVID, when there was no sports at all. And we were all just like sitting in our own, houses. We were told we weren't allowed to go anywhere. And there was just literally nothing going on. And you're like, I miss sports. Sports are fun. And a night like tonight makes me appreciate it for something that we used to not have for a short period of time. Super chats. Michael Rolfe coming in hot. And when I say hot, I'm talking like kid show. But he came in hot. Michael Rolfe. What a day. What a night. ATOBTTR. For those that don't know what that means in this one belongs to the Reds. Needed this one after it looked grim for 4 innings. Cheers to all the Chatterbox family, chat employees, or psychologists and cheerleaders. Trace and Nick, win, baby, win. Meat for the win, says Michael Rolfe. Then drops up, my 6-year-old nephew wanted me to play T-ball last night with him and friends at a B-day party. I almost said B-ball. B-day party. I hit a laser into his ribs, and he was 100 feet behind second base. Knocked him off his feet with a rubber baseball. No tears, great success. Man, Michael, be careful now. Be careful now. It's one way to get yourself in trouble, is hitting kids with baseballs. Raw Finn says hockey is the hardest sport overall. Hitting major league pitching is the hardest skill. And my favorite is when bozos say football is hard. Try boxing. That takes elite talent. I don't know. Was this an argument in the chat of what the hardest sport was? Rolf is just super chatting galore. You're going to have to let us get off the show, Rolf. He says, do you guys think Paul Skeens will win National League Rookie of the Year? Lodolo and Skeens pitch from the same arm slot. Both worry me from an injury standpoint. Lodolo has been injury prone, but it's not so much been because of, I think of the fact that he has some kind of arm situation or issue. Skeens, from an injury standpoint, I've just said it before that when these guys throw this damn hard, it doesn't take long to look around the league to see all the different, basically all the different people that have gone down with injury and what's been the common theme amongst many of them. And they are elite, velocity type arms. So we'll see. Does he win NL Rookie of the Year?
He's minus 185. Next is Jackson Merrill plus 400. So
he's going to win.
Pretty high odds. It was teammate Jared Jones also is plus 2,000, but he could also get in there as well. It's going to depend a lot about what do the Pirates do. Do they cap his innings at some point? Because he's going to be in the especially if the Pirates continue to be competitive and they're in the wild card race, it's going to be a Steven Strasburg situation times 2 because they have 2 pitchers that fit that mold that'll be in career high in innings. And then Jackson Merrill's really good, but he's kind of had an up and down season. So where does he go? But I would bet on Skeens if he told me I had to bet on someone right now.
Fair enough. Rolf says the last 4 Stanley Cups have been won by places with an average temperature never seen cold. Gross Canada. Florida times 3, Las Vegas times 1. He's not wrong. Poor Canada folks. They probably were, they were excited. Although I'm willing to bet. Everyone's saying Canada is upset. There is no doubt in my mind that there aren't cities in Canada, or whatever they call them, provinces, or whatever the hell you want to say. How many teams are in Canada? I know there's obviously Toronto. There's Edmonton. There's Ottawa, maybe. Whatever. My point is, I almost be willing to bet all of those other cities that have NHL franchises were not rooting for their countrymen. They were not rooting for the Oilers. I have a strong suspicion that they weren't. Why? Because they want their Vancouver. Thank you. They're the ones that want to win. Like would
Calgary?
Yeah. Would we want the
Winnipeg?
I don't know. Maybe this is a terrible analogy, but it just seems like, would we want the Guardians to win the World Series if there was some weird thing that everyone's like, no team has won the World Series in the state of Ohio for 100 years? Would we be rooting for the Guardians if we were Reds fans? I feel like we wouldn't.
Certainly, if they're playing the Cubs, we would be.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah. Shout out to Chapman for almost doing it for us, but it just didn't happen. All right, Nick. You got a Nick Cage pillow? We got things to do.
Did I ever tell you that I was very close to going to that game?
That would have been an electric game to go to.
Yeah. Tickets were like $700, and
you can't do that.
It's one of those things where you're like, $700 feels like a lot right now, but then you're gonna remember what you did with that $700 like 10 years. I don't know what I did with it.
That's a very good way.
I would have remembered that game though.
I agree with that. I really do, and I don't. Some people probably think that I'm like super, super rich because of the things I go and do from time to time. But it's like, I don't know. I've decided in my life that if I get to a spot where I run out of money, then maybe I just have to stop, doing things. But I'm not going to save a boatload of money and never do anything, because at the end of the day, you only can, the only thing you really remember in life is the experiences you have. I'm not trying to get too philosophical, but in all seriousness, that trip that we went on to spring training, there were things that didn't happen in spring training that I'll never forget. Just driving, honestly, is a great memory that I'll always have. And many people would probably be like, "Well, that was dumb. Why'd you drive all the way out there?" It's I don't know. It was kind of nice. Now I will say you guys got to fly home. That would have been cool, but who's counting? Rolf, with his last super chat of the night, said Strasburg and Harper 0 World Series wins. That's not true. Harper won a World Series, but he didn't win in Washington, so maybe that's what you meant. Strasburg won without Harper.
Yeah, Harper didn't win. Harper was gone.
But Harper won with the Phillies. He's saying Strasburg and Harper together is 0 World Series wins. That's what he's trying to say, maybe.
Harper lost. Phillies lost in the World Series.
Harper lost the World Series. That's right. He hit the home run to get him to the World Series, though.
Yeah, and he was like incredible in the whole playoffs. But
yeah,
they fell short. I think they had a player that was really hot that got cold in the World Series.
Yeah, that's on me. Strasburg won a World Series, though. I'm not crazy for that.
Yeah, he was World Series MVP in 2019. But Harper left the year before, which was wild. Like that Nationals team kind of built up this incredible roster.
Right.
And they lost Harper in free agency. And that was the Strasburg-Rendon show, which just, it's crazy that we're 5 years later and both of those guys are one's retired and the other one should be retired.
Yeah. Man, how good was Rendon? Dude, he was a stud.
Yeah, I mean, he looked like a can't-miss signing, too. I know there was a lot of Reds fans that wanted the Reds to make a run at Rendon because the Reds did not have a second baseman at all at that point. Yeah. I mean, could you imagine? I mean, that was a $250 million contract. Could you imagine the Reds situation right now if they had tried to sign that? I don't think he would have. He probably want to go to L.A., but, yeah. I mean, nonetheless, if somehow they did, man, those are the kind of contracts that could just absolutely derail you.
Yep. No doubt. You can't miss. So if I'm just openly saying, if they go after ELLY, I'll be the first guy to say that I was wrong if it doesn't work out. But I'll also be the first guy to say that when he's 29 years old and he's an absolute phenom, it would have been cool to have him. And I think they're going to have him. I'm going to hold out hope. All right, Nick. Clear the graphics. I'm going to try to do some athletic stuff here on a lovely Monday night of Chatterbox Reds. A winning edition of that. Winning edition, which is the best edition, if we're being completely frank. Sometimes I wonder what's going on behind me because I have not checked. You know, kids are home for the summer. But shout out to everybody, by the way. Our numbers still continue to do really do amaze me. Why? Because sometimes I wonder, you know, how come we deserve that loyalty? I don't know. Maybe we don't. Maybe you guys just like having fun in the chat. I don't care why you like coming. I just appreciate you coming and enjoying our content. And we'll have some news on Off the Bench here relatively soon as well. That said, we go dunk a basketball. And I'll see you back here better than ever tomorrow. Go Reds. Love y'all. Athlete.